Hey, what's up guys, it's Graphic Phoenix back with another video today, and today we're doing Vivarium Lighting. You've already watched the substrate video. If not, there will be a card most recent video that I've made. Now that you've learned a little bit about the substrate, you've come to the Vivarium Lighting section. This is arguably the second most important thing of your vivarium besides the substrate, because this is going to be the backbone for all life in your terrarium. It's going to help keep your plants healthy, it's going to keep your inhabitants healthy, and through that will add to your bioactivity in your soils. It's definitely a major component of your build. A little bit of scientific background. For those of you that are unaware, there are a couple different kinds of chlorophyll in plants, which is basically the photosynthetic recipient of your plant. It is found in the leaves. It is basically what gives the plant leaves that green color. Now there's two kinds of it. There's chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B are most effective at absorbing light ranges at 440 micrometers and 660 micrometers, or in normal people terms, red and blue light. So now that we've got kind of the science and chemistry down, we're going to want to talk about basic lighting terminology. The first key term that you're going to want to know is lumens. Now, lumens is basically how intense or how bright a light is. In order to measure lumens, there are some apps on your phone that you can basically set in your tank or at various different levels in your vivarium, and it will read off a lumen reading for you. The brighter the light is, the higher lumens there will be. Generally, when you're measuring lumens, you want to measure it at several different spots in the tank. You want to measure it high up where some of the extremely tall growing plants would be, as well as at the substrate layer where maybe some plants that might require high light won't actually be getting high light. It's a very simple check if you're providing enough light for your vivarium plants. The next term that is thrown around very frequently in vivarium lighting and all lighting in general is Kelvin, or K. You'll see like 6500 K on something. Some people don't know what that means. Essentially what it is a range of light. There are a couple different terms that you hear bulbs being thrown around for your home. That is soft white and cool white. Now, soft white is typically anywhere from about 2500 to 3500 Kelvin, and cool white typically ranges from 3500 to 4500 Kelvin. The soft white will definitely be providing a more yellow ambiance to your scene, and the cool white is getting closer to average daylight, but is not there yet. What you're going to want to be shooting for in your planted tank or vivarium is a Kelvin range from about 5000 to about 7500 Kelvin. Now, typical daylight range is about 5000 to 6500, but I'd say anywhere between 5000 and 6500 Kelvin is definitely what you're going to want to be shooting for in your vivarium. It provides the most natural daylight sense to a vivarium. Something to note about Kelvin is that it's not stackable. You can't have a 5000 Kelvin and a 2000 Kelvin and it magically equal 7000 Kelvin. That's just not how it works. If you have two 5000 Kelvin bulbs, you have 5000 Kelvin. That's all. It's not stackable. So the next class or term that a lot of people get thrown off by is UVB. Now, that is what helps reptiles and other organisms synthesize calcium D3. A lot of people think that their plants need UVB, and that is simply not true. Plants do not need UVB to grow, so you don't need to provide it unless you have a reptile that needs UV. Just keep in mind that it's definitely not mandatory. Our frogs don't really need UV, not that I've seen at all. If you're supplementing and everything, they don't require it. Most vivarium inhabitants won't need it. However, if you are keeping diurnal species of reptiles, they will likely need UV. UVB rays do not penetrate through glass. So if you have a custom glass top for your new vivarium and you throw a anole in there or something, and you throw your UVB light over top, that's going to be doing nothing. He will be getting no UV or extremely reduced amounts of UV. So now that we've gone over a couple of the basic lighting terms, we can move to specific kinds of light for your vivarium. First thing we're going to start with is the compact fluorescent bulb. Now, compact fluorescent bulbs are okay. Honestly, I try and stay away from them. They typically give off a very soft white color, so it's a very yellowy, gross kind of tinge to it. And to provide really any penetrating power in your vivarium, you definitely need a very good reflector for these guys. Pros for the compact fluorescent bulbs are that they are the least expensive of all the different kinds of lighting you can provide, and they are also the most variable in size, in wattage, in color availability. They are by far the most variable. For a budget build, it is certainly a good way to start. Unfortunately, with the pros come the cons. The compact fluorescents have higher heat production, so if you're keeping them in maybe an already warm basement or already warm room, and it's a temperature sensitive species like dart frogs, then it's something that you definitely have to watch. In addition to that, the lumens to watt ratio is extremely low, which means you're getting less efficient bulbs at producing light compared to the other kinds. I definitely don't recommend any compact fluorescent bulbs for anything over 24 inches tall. The next class of bulbs that we'll be talking about are fluorescent tubes. There are three more common types available on the market. That is T5, which is the thinnest of all of them. There's the T8, which is the medium size, and the T12, which is a big honking bulb. One of the huge pros for this kind of bulb is that heat is really not much of a factor. Typically, heat production is extremely low for both the T5, the T8s, and the T12s, so it's something that will not be increasing your average temperature in your tank. I'm only going to go into detail on the T5 and the T8s because that's really the most common kinds. The T5s are extremely nice. They have 95 to 100 lumens per watt. So you're going to be getting a lot of light per watt that you're spending. The T8s are just a small step down from that for about 80 lumens per watt. So you're still getting a lot of light for your money. Pros for the T5 lighting is that they are very bright. They are quite cost effective. They have a very even distribution of light, making the overall effect of the vivarium very natural, and they also come in varying wattages and lengths for different fixtures. The cons for the T5 bulbs are that they are just the most expensive of all the fluorescent tubes, so keep that in mind when making your choice. Pros for the T8 bulbs are very similar to the T5s. They are found pretty much everywhere. They come in very standard lengths of 24 inches and 48 inches. Some of the other weird random lengths can be a little bit harder to find, but they still come in them. And again, their Kelvin range is very high. The biggest cons for the T8 bulbs is that their light distribution isn't quite as even. The Kelvin ranges suitable for daylight temperatures are a little bit harder to find, so they tend to make a more yellow atmosphere. And they are not very useful for any tanks above 18 inches, simply because their light penetration does not go that far into the tank. The next kind of light you can use for your tank are the Screwin LED bulbs. This is a Dart Frog connection LED bulb. Jungle Dawn LEDs are definitely amazing as well. Those are the two main players in the whole Screwin LED game. In terms of Screwin bulbs, these are by far the most efficient kind of lighting you can use for your vivarium. They produce the most light, they penetrate the deepest, and in the realm of LEDs, they are very, very good compared to even LED fixtures. Jungle Dawn LEDs are definitely the dominator in the arena when it comes to Screwin LEDs, but like I said here, this is a Dart Frog connection, so there are alternatives to the Jungle Dawns as well. The overall pros for the Screwin LEDs are that they penetrate much deeper into the tank, so they're suitable for definitely a lot taller vivariums. They come in increased brightness. They're for the most part fully customizable with light colors, light temperatures, that kind of thing. And they are extremely cool running. They do not produce much heat at all. Cons for these kind of bulbs are primarily based on the other ones. Compared to the Screwin compact fluorescents, one of these guys will cost you $40 for a Screwin, whereas a compact fluorescent might cost you a couple bucks. So when it comes to price range, these guys are definitely much higher. And the other problem is availability. They're really only found online and maybe in some of your specialty reptile stores. That's where I actually got this one. Moving from Screwin LEDs, we are going to LED fixtures. Now these are basically the same thing. They carry very high brightness. They penetrate very deep into your tank. They are very, very cool running. They have an extremely high lumens per watt at anywhere from 85 to 110 plus. Now the pros, besides me already mentioning, are that they actually last a very, very long time. LEDs tend to last anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 hours. Unlike all the other bulbs, T5s, T8s, compact fluorescents, that typically lose their strength after about 6 to 8 months, these guys retain it for years and years. The cons for the LED fixtures are primarily attached to their price tag. These guys definitely hold the highest price tag of any of the previously mentioned categories. Some of the fixtures that I recommend are the Phoenix Planted Tank LEDs. For my small 12x12x18 terrariums, it cost me about $75 American to light one tank. So they're definitely not cheap. However, the pros definitely outweigh the cons for me, so I can definitely justify it. Now, as I mentioned previously, the depth of your tank typically tends to limit what kind of lights you can use. So let's go through the list. Any vivariums under 18 inches tall can basically be lit by anything that you like. You can use compact fluorescents, you can use T5s, you can use T8s. You can basically use any class of lighting and you'll be able to get away with it. However, once you go above 18 inches tall, your choices start to get much more limited. At the range of about 24 inches tall, you are basically going to be limited to T5s and LEDs simply because the T8s, compact fluorescents, and the T12s do not penetrate that far and will likely not grow many plants on the substrate. So anything above the 24-inch range and all the way to the 36-inch range, you're going to be limited to the high-powered LEDs simply because the T5s and everything else do not have the penetrating power to reach to the substrate and grow any plant that you might have some desire to grow. So after all this talk of what vivarium lights are best suited for you, you might be asking yourself, Mike, what do you use? And currently I'm mostly using LEDs because you simply can't get the colors that you're seeing right now with compact fluorescents. So that's really my go-to option is the LEDs. I'm willing to spend a little bit extra and bring out that life in my plants. I totally understand if you may not be able to do that, or you don't really care to do that, you just want light over your dart frogs. That's totally understandable. Go with whatever suits you best. Me personally, like I said, I like LEDs, but I'm not knocking the compact fluorescents because 2 of my tanks are actually running compact fluorescents and are growing plants very, very well. One of the ones that I definitely recommend is the Fluval compact fluorescent bulb. It is a black hood that has a little weird looking compact fluorescent in it, and I really like the way it looks. It's very slick and it grows plants very well. Alright you guys, that wraps up the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series of the substrate and the vivarium lighting. I definitely had a lot of fun filming it. It was not all for nothing. Either Friday or Saturday, I'm really hoping to have the waterfall vivarium up and the whole build for you guys to see. That's why I've been cranking out these videos, so I really hope you guys appreciate it. I've been putting my heart and soul into these videos, so if you want to show some love, definitely click the like button down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns of vivarium lighting or anything else you might have to ask, definitely leave it in the comments and I will be sure to answer. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can click on this little orb over here to subscribe to my channel. There will also be the substrate video up here and a recommended video for you down here. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch, you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been Graphic Phoenix and I'm out here.